Hey everyone, Greta here. Today we are going to talk about whether engaging our core is able to alleviate the back pain. Before we continue, please give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and share my video. Lower back pain and core. So these two words, they seem to be the most popular words floating around, and also they seem to be kind of on different ends of the spectrum. So if you have lower back pain, people will be like, oh, your core is weak, that's why. But if you start to ask, what's core? What do you mean? Then often it goes unanswered. So we are going to dissect this topic. Before we actually go into that topic, I think we need to rewind a little bit and just talk about lower back pain. What is it? Now, I'm not a doctor. I don't have any medical training. I don't have a medical background, but then I know a fair bit of the anatomy, and I'm also a certified yoga therapist, so I thought I'll just share with what I know. There are a zillion causes of lower back pain, okay? Zillion might be a little bit too exaggerated, but I'm just saying that there's more than just one cause. It could be because of an injury. It could also be because it's repetitive strain, or like we hold ourselves, whether we lean to one side a lot, how we hold our body up. And also there could be because of the pelvis position. And we are going to talk just that, the pelvis position, how that could affect our lower back, giving us that lower back pain, and how to alleviate that. Okay, so the pelvis, right here. Okay, there are three different positions. One is the neutral, one is anterior tilt, and one is posterior tilt. Today we are going to talk about the anterior tilt, the one that I have, so I can talk from personal experience. I can go on and on and on. What does it mean? So it just talks about the position of the pelvis, whether the pelvis is tilting forward or tilting back. So I'm just going to sit on my heels. Okay. On the side, if I kind of relax my lower back a lot, just kind of let it hang. So you can see there's this huge arch in my lower back. If I stand up, it's going to be the same. So if I stand, again, if I relax my entire body and just kind of let it hang, then you can see there's this arch, this dip. So in this sense, my pelvis is on an anterior tilt, meaning the front or the top of the pelvis is dipping forward. Hence you see the arch. So is it a bad thing? No, unless you feel extremely uncomfortable, then we need to manage it. And that's exactly me. I have this huge anterior tilt. The one that I just showed is not exaggerated, as however that I am when I'm totally relaxed. And that caused a lot of lower back pain for me, because when I am always in this shape, I always thought that I was sitting tall, but actually I was arching my lower back a lot, as you can see here. The muscles in my lower back is always compressed. So that is why it causes so much pain. That kind of pain is not something that I can joke around. It's the pain that is just sharp. That if I'm not being mindful of how I stand, how I move around, if I do this for a very long time, I cannot even do a half forward fold. So before, when I was teaching a lot, like in the big yoga studios, I was always walking around, standing while teaching 3-4 classes back to back. So, and because I'm always looking out for students, then I am not paying attention to how I stand. And I am usually standing like this with a tilt. So my pelvis is dipping forward. As you can see, the lower back is arched. After the day ends, I cannot even do this. This killed. Okay, if I do a squat, I'll be like, give me some time. And I'll feel this whole rush of sensation in my lower back. And it usually takes me a few moments before I can truly settle in a squat. In a forward fold, I don't even know how long it takes. So that's why whenever I am standing now, or sitting, or even when I'm moving around, I need to be very aware of how I position my pelvis. Okay, background is done, so let's talk about the cure. Not really a cure, but those are these magic words that people will be like, oh my gosh, cure. I'm gonna play that video and just see how it's gonna cure my problem. There's not a cure. It's how you are aware of how you position your pelvis so that it doesn't give you as much sensation than it could have. So that's the long meaning of it. And that is where the core comes in. You know, people say, oh, you have very weak core because you have lower back pain. That I am often like, I cringe whenever I hear that, because it's not just the muscle engagement, it's more about how you engage. And is that the only solution to it? So if you're unsure whether your lower back issue or your lower back condition is caused by the tilting of the position of the pelvis, you can do a quick test here. And whenever we lie flat on the floor, as you can see, I've had this huge massive arch if I don't pay attention. Once you relax and just kind of flop down, and after a while, if you feel that the lower back starts to cringe, like right now I'm actually starting to feel it, then that could be one of the signs that, you know, the tilt in the pelvis is just too much, causing a compression in the lower back. So that's why the lower back feels really, really uncomfortable and achy. So what you actually want to do is just to manipulate the position of the pelvis. So we're in an anterior tilt, meaning the pelvis is dipping forward, causing the arch. So instead of going the total opposite, you actually want to find the midway. So I'm just going to demo. I'm going to place one hand on my lower back and my other hand right in the lower abdomen near my pubic bone. As you can see, all the fingers are more pointing towards the back of the mat, right? If I'm totally relaxed. So what I actually want to do is I want to tilt my pelvis so that it's not facing that much, so that my fingers are not facing that much back. So I want to have the fingers pointing more directly down to the floor. That's more of a neutral pelvis instead of fully tucked under. That's posterior tilt, where the pelvis is going boom, tilting back like that. So that's not very healthy either. If you, again, the both ends of the spectrum, both extremes are never that good anyways. So you always want to find a midway. So it's the tilting of the pelvis that releases the tension in the lower back. This might be a little bit more subtle to do and a bit more challenging at first. When you first start, you actually want to start lying on the floor. So you want to be here. You know, your feet are, you know, on the mat. They feel steady. The knees are not flaring out. They are just pointing up at the sky. So right now, as you can see, I need to relax it because I'm so used to, you know, pulling it under. This is arch in the lower back, right? So what you want to do is move the pelvis to take that arch out. So you actually need to roll, as you can see. So my lower back is becoming flattening by tilting the pelvis. So before the pubic bone was more pointing towards the mat, what I want to do is tilt it so that the pubic bone is more pointing to the front of the mat rather than directly down at the mat. So now you can see the arch is gone. Okay. And how I can hold this shape is by activating the lower abdominal muscles. These guys, they keep the pelvis in place so it doesn't tilt back because I'm so used to doing that tilting, the interior tilt. So what I need is I need to feel the pelvis moving in a more posterior direction, okay, and securing that with the engagement of my lower abdominal muscles. Once you feel very familiar with this movement and the engagement, just to keep that position of the pelvis, you're ready to try it when you're standing up. So you can stand with your feet, you know, about hips width, however way that you feel comfortable. Again, you do want to feel grounding with both your feet, so you're not leaning to any one side. And you can use your hands just to give you a better sense of direction again. So now the fingers are all the fingers are pointing more towards the back. I need to slightly relax my knee so I don't lock my knee joints, slightly relax it so that I have space to move around. and then moving the pelvis so the fingers are more pointing directly down at the floor. Once this is in place, I need to slightly engage my lower abs, okay, just to keep this part of the body pressing down. There. For me, that's a more healthier way to stand and move around. But it takes a lot of awareness because it's not a big sucking of the belly muscles or, you know, holding in your core or whatever. So it's very, very subtle, but it's subtle and you have to hold it for a very, very long time. Basically, I have to hold it whenever I'm standing. Whenever I'm walking around, whenever I'm standing, I need to hold it. So it does take some practice. And I've been doing this for a very long time. To this day, there are still times where I forgot or I would not engage it as much, so that at the end I still feel there's a bit of achiness in the lower back. And trust me, it's not a good feeling. That kind of achy, like, oh God, what did I do? You know, I'm sorry. Kind of apologizing to my body that I kind of forgot about it. We just talked about when the pelvis is tilting forward, that causes the lower back discomfort. You might ask, hey, what if I tilt the pelvis the other way? Would I live happily ever after? No. Because again, as I said earlier, on either ends of the spectrum is too much. So you need to find the midway. So if you have lower back pain, and if you feel that now, like this tilting of the pelvis doesn't work, I don't have an arch in my lower back, but I'm still feeling weird in my lower back, it could possibly be the other way. And we are going to talk about it next time. Hope this video helps you. If it does, give me a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel. And if you want to practice with me, because I too teach a lot of things, including yoga therapy, DM me and I'll get back to you ASAP. Take it easy.